Diane in Denmark here, hooray! It is Friday, the best day of the week. I'm not sitting in the kitchen today and I'm not moving around cleaning stuff today. I'm filming this in my office and I apologise in advance for the lighting. I've got kind of sun streaming through here and I only have my desk lamp. You know me, I video these things with my telephone. I don't use any fancy equipment, so you're just going to have to grin and bear it with me, and I hope the lighting will be all right. I'm filming here in my office today because, as I mentioned at the beginning of this week, Danish schools are closed, at least in our area this week, for the winter break. Week 7 for us is always the school's winter break. And my son and my daughter and my husband, they're all home today. And I never film when the family is around, and you know, they clean their own rooms anyway. So you won't see me filming them. So that's why I'm filming down here. Anyway, just a couple of things I want to check in with you about today. It's Friday, and you know that I go on and on and on about, you know, routines, having a good morning routine, evening routine. Just having that will really take the stress out of, you know, organising your life and keeping up with your home. And I've also mentioned about the Flylady's daily focus idea of having a set time and day for doing stuff that you need to do. For example, menu planning. And quite often on a Tuesday I've made a video about menu planning and show you how I do it. And I've started changing my menu planning because, you know, with your family, you know, circumstances change, the kids grow up, or maybe you've just had a baby, or, you know, maybe you've moved to a different area of the country. So don't be afraid to change things up. And for example, like in the Flylady on a Friday would be fill up your car with petrol. For me, it makes more sense to fill up my car with petrol if I'm using it on errand day instead of, you know, we hardly ever use the car. So I'm not going to go out on a Friday and fill up the car. So, you know, tweak these things to suit yourself. And I just wanted to get a wee bit more into the menu planning thing today. We're now doing our menu planning, me and the family. We're now doing it at the weekend, either on a Saturday or on a Sunday. And I'll explain why we've moved it instead of me doing it, you know, on a Tuesday. And we do it in the same way as usual. You know, I take my diary and we look at what's coming up, and we look at, you know, what's in the fridge, the freezer, the pantry, what needs using up. I mean, let's not go buy more food. Let's use what we've already got. And when the kids were smaller, they used to help cook a lot. I've mentioned this before, you know, they would always be helping me in the kitchen, and it's a great way to get them started off with, you know, just mixing up easy cakes and how many spoons are going in, you know, counting stuff like that. And they helped out a lot in the kitchen and used to have a day where they would cook dinner. And then when they got into their teens, they kind of went off it a bit. And now that they are 16 and 19, get that right? Yeah, they are back into wanting to cook again, which is fantastic for me. So I make sure that we've got the ingredients. I put it on the list and make sure we've got the ingredients. And they cook. They take a day of the week, each of them, where they will cook something. And I just want to share this with you today because somebody mentioned, I think it was on the video that I made on Wednesday, about that really easy quiche using courgette, you know, zucchini, squash, whatever you want to call it. That's a great idea for kids, just to mix it together. And the lady who commented, I'm afraid I've forgotten your name, she mentioned the BBC Good Food website. Now, I've mentioned that before. I love the BBC Good Food website, and I have some of the books. And I went down and my few cookery books that I have left, because most of them I've decluttered. I've got some here, and I just wanted to show you. I've got, these are the wee ones that you can get from Good Food, and actually I'm going to go through them today. Let me see if I can find the one. Where is it? Oh, here, I've got more of them. Yeah, I'm actually going to go through these today because I'm sure I can declutter some more of them. But there's this one, 101 recipes for kids. And I have mentioned this before in a video about, you know, the kids cooking stuff. And, you know, the kids would look through this wee book and they, you know, they came up with something they wanted to make. And I've even got the date. Here's something called cheesy corn cakes. And I've even written down the day that they made it was the 28th of April 2010. So that's how my kids kind of started off. They were making these easy recipes, and in Danish schools they're taught how to cook. That's part of the curriculum, how to make rolls and cook with eggs and basic kitchen hygiene. And now my kids are a bit bigger, they're 16 and 19. So these ones I'm going to declutter today because I'm sure I can let go of some more of them. This is a book that my daughter spotted when we were in Edinburgh for my brother's wedding, called My Asian Kitchen. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that we love Asian food, and we've started cooking a lot of Asian food. So all these little post-it notes, those are things that the kids want to cook. So, and I'll tell you what they're cooking and have been cooking when I go through this week's menu plan. But it just shows you that, just keep on, showing the kids how to cook. And, you may think in the beginning, oh, when are they ever going to be able to do it? Just, it's baby steps, and they'll go through periods of not wanting to do it and then come back. And now, look at that, the other day actually when my daughter cooked, I just got into my running gear and went off for a run around the block, and there she was, making, what was it? Oh, I'll tell you in a minute what the recipe was. Anyway, just to show you the baby steps work, even, showing kids how to cook in the kitchen. And when I came down also to look for those good food books here, I actually found a couple of cookbooks which I'm going to take. These are from Our Best Bites, which was a blog that I used to follow. I've looked at the recipes here, and those are definitely being decluttered today, and those are going to go to our next clothes swap party. And you may say, hold on, books, clothes. If you've seen my clothes swap party videos, you'll know that we swap anything, we just take anything that you're not using, and especially things like cookery books or makeup or whatever it is. If we're not using it, we can take it to the party and swap it. So those are definitely going to the clothes swap party, plus probably a few more of these. Anyway, and just while we're on the subject of books, because I know y'all will love to know what everybody's reading. I've just finished this one, which is a Woodhouse one. It wasn't fantastic Woodhouse, I prefer the Jeeves ones, but my husband picked this up for me at the book exchange. We've got book exchanges around here where you can just take in a book or just take a book that's there. You don't have to hand one in. And they're open 24 hours a day, just on the street. You can just take what you want. But I'm going to hold on to that one for a wee while because I do love Woodhouse. And the other thing that I'm still reading and is fascinating is this Atomic Habits. And we'll talk more about that another time. But there was something that I read just last night. Let me get to it. And I just thought, if you don't understand why the Flylady system or why the Getting Things Done system or Marie Kondo system works for you, this gives you the psychology behind it. And there was this really funny thing he said about, he has a little rule. If he I'm talking about routines, he's allowed to miss once but never twice. You've heard me sing that before, like with routines, if you miss a day, just chalk it up to experience and say, okay, I missed a day, but don't miss it the next day, because when you miss it twice in a row, then you're backsliding again. So, even if you're having a bad day and you didn't get your evening routine finished or your morning routine, say, okay, forgive myself, absolve myself of all guilt, but get back on it the next day. And I've mentioned this before, it's a really handy rule. You can say, okay, I've missed this one time, but I'm not going to miss it again. Because when you miss twice in a row, that's you making excuses and backsliding again. Anyway, we'll talk more about that another time. This is another one that came from the book exchange. I really like Agatha Raisin on the television. I'm not so keen on the books, but it's a light read, so that's what I'm reading right here, right now. A couple of chapters before I go to bed. And this one, I want to give a wee shout out. This one. Now, this is not a genre that I would normally read, but this book is written by my neighbour, James, in Sweden. We've got the Swedish summer house. And he's written a book. He actually wrote this story, he told me, years ago, and it was more of an adult thing. And then James is younger than me and my husband. He's in his 40s, early 40s, and they've got 2 kids, much younger than our kids. And he decided to dust off the story and then write it more for kids or, teens. Anyway, it's just been published, and as I said, it's not my usual genre, but I'm going to read it just because James has written it. And I'll show you a wee picture of James. They're so sweet, our neighbours. Hold on, I think there's a picture of him at the back. There he is, there's James. There he is. Doesn't he look nice? He's so sweet. Anyway, James is actually English Swedish. So anyway, if you can take a look at that, and it's a fantasy book. James is really into. He used to be into World of Warcraft and the Star Wars, Star Trek stuff, like me. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah. And he said to me, it's aimed, or it will appeal to, kids who are kind of into kind of Harry Potter, the 10 to 18 age group. But anyway, I'm gonna read it because it's just funny that my neighbour James has written it. So anyway, that's on that. And the cookbook, and what else? Yeah, so without further ado, I'll just tell you what we ate last week. And as usual, you don't need to meal plan on the same day as I do it. Just get it written down, add what you need to your errand list, and make sure that you've got food in the house, because sometimes we change around the days that we're having, whatever the dinner is, but we've got food so we can make it, and we're not kind of ending up having to go out and get takeaway or take out or carry out, as we call it in Scottish. Right, where are we? Right, so I'll start with last weekend. So on Saturday night, I did a big roast chicken, with veggies and everything went in the oven together. And then on Sunday, I used the leftover chicken. I love to use the leftovers and make it into something completely different. On Sunday, I made a risotto with sweet corn and mushrooms and spinach, and I used up the leftover chicken. So, let's use up these leftovers. And then on Monday, my daughter, my dear daughter, 16, Dee Dee 16, she made spicy shan pork noodles, and those were excellent actually. Page 212 in the book, if you can get the book from the library. And then on Tuesday, I showed you how I made that squash pie. There was a video that was the video that I showed you on Wednesday. I actually filmed it on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we were in Sweden, and we had pad thai and a curry dish. We actually went out to eat. And then on Thursday, we had... what do you call it? We're back here. Another dish which I've made a video about, Swedish sausage stew, which is called in Danish svensk pølsegrød. Very easy thing, and we had that with rice. And then tonight, Friday, my son is making a dish. My son, he's 19, so he's DS19, dear son 19. He's making tantanmen spicy miso chicken ramen. So that's what's on the menu for tonight. And then tomorrow will probably be haggis, potatoes, or tatties as we call them in Scottish, and carrots, because I brought some haggis back from Scotland with me. And then on Sunday, we have some leftover roast beef, which I froze from last time we had it. And I'm going to slice that up and make it into a salad with lots of fresh veggies and fried onions and croutons and tomatoes. So that's the menu this week. So anyway, without further ado, oh, and I tell you what, one more thing. Just because I was down on my bike this morning with Vibeke and Elena for our skinny dip in the sea. Yes, we're naked, we're in the sea and doing our winter bathing. Just above freezing here at the moment. And when I cycled back home, I stopped off at the baker's because, as I mentioned, this week the kids are off holiday for winter week, and we're coming up for Danish Carnival, which is called Fastelavn. So I stopped off at the baker's on my bike ride home, and I got some Fastelavnsbollar. Now, I made a video last year about how the Danes celebrate Carnival, and it's nothing like Carnival in real. It's something completely different. It's hitting a barrel, and there's supposed to be a cat inside. And anyway, I'll link up there, or is it up there, to the video about how the Danes celebrate Carnival, and all about their carnival buns. That's part of the thing. So I stopped off at the baker and got some buns, and I'll show you one here. Now, this is a plain carnival bun. If you look at my video from last year, you will see they're all different types, but that's what we are going to be having this evening, probably when we are having our hygge time and watching X Factor or whatever on the television. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go off and enjoy the rest of the day with the family. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope you managed to get some good reading in, whether it is cookbooks or Chick Lit or something new, and I shall see you probably bright and early on Monday morning. Okay, anyway, Diane in Denmark saying live long and prosper. May the Danish hygge be with you and the Fastelavns hygge, and I shall see you very soon. Okay, bye for now.